Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place you come to, well, plunge into different sources and pull out those key nuggets of insight just for you. Today, we're doing something a little different, a slightly different kind of deep dive. We're focusing our whole exploration on just one single phrase. But it's a phrase that feels, I don't know, really potent. It sparks a lot of thought. That phrase is rewire your brain. Now, this comes from a source titled Dantantia Dan, which, as you probably gathered, translates directly, rewire your brain.
Exactly.
So our mission today isn't really about digging into chapters or specific techniques from that source because, well, honestly, all we have is the title.
Just the title itself.
Right. Instead, we're asking, what does the idea behind rewiring your brain actually imply? For you, what possibilities does just that concept, suggest by having some agency over your own mind? Okay, let's unpack this.
What's fascinating here right off the bat is how those three words, rewire your brain, immediately connect to something huge in neuroscience.
Which is?
Neuroplasticity. The brain's incredible ability to actually change itself, to form new connections, strengthen old ones. And this happens throughout life. It's not just when you're young.
So it's not just a metaphor then, like, change your thinking.
No, not just a metaphor. It's biological. It's real. It underpins our actual potential to keep growing, keep adapting. It really pushes back against that old idea that, your brain's pretty much fixed after a certain age.
Right, like you're stuck with what you've got.
Exactly. This suggests your internal world, your mind, isn't static at all. It's dynamic. It's capable of, profound change and, importantly, intentional change.
Okay, intentional change. That feels key. Because when I first heard rewire your brain, my mind immediately jumped to something practical.
Like what?
Like breaking bad habits.
Yeah.
Those things that feel really ingrained, really automatic. Is that a calmer way people take this?
Oh, absolutely. Breaking habits is probably one of the most powerful and common interpretations.
Yeah.
But it goes broader than that, too. It also speaks to, say, cultivating totally new pathways.
Pathways
for creativity, maybe, or improving how you solve problems, even building up more emotional resilience.
Okay.
Handling stress better.
How would that work? Building a pathway for resilience.
Well, think about it this way. If a certain thought pattern, a neural pathway, always leads you to feel anxious, the idea is you could consciously work to build and strengthen a different pathway, one that leads to maybe calm or just a different, more constructive response.
You're not just reacting automatically.
Exactly. It's about a fundamental shift in how we see our own mental capabilities, not just victims of our wiring, but architects of it in a way.
Architects, I like that. So, okay, if the potential is that big, let's make it concrete.
Sure.
What might rewiring look like for you listening right now? Let's say you're trying to master something new, a language maybe, or a musical instrument.
Right. Good examples. For learning a new skill like that, rewiring is way more than just, rote memorization. Drills.
Okay.
It means consciously directing your attention, really focusing. It means engaging different parts of your brain, maybe through varied kinds of practice. It also involves making mistakes. That's crucial, actually.
Mistakes help rewire.
Yes. Learning from mistakes physically strengthens those new neural connections you're trying to build. And critically, it involves having what they call a growth mindset, believing you can improve.
So it's an active process.
Very active. You're actively building, pruning, shaping those circuits until the new skill starts to feel more natural, like paving a new super highway for that information or action in your brain.
Okay, so it's the difference between just like going through the motions of practice and actively shaping your brain for that skill, for mastery.
Exactly. That's the core idea.
That feels incredibly empowering. This idea that we can, sculpt our own mental architecture.
It is empowering.
But are there downsides? Or maybe common misconceptions people might run into when they hear a phrase that sounds so powerful, so maybe easy. Rewire your brain.
That's a really important point to bring up, yes. While it's a liberating concept, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's crucial to remember that rewiring implies effort, consistency. It's not an overnight thing.
Right. Not a magic wand.
Definitely not. It's not some quick fix that just instantly solves deep-seated issues or makes learning effortless. It takes sustained, intentional work. It often requires patience and, frankly, a willingness to be a bit uncomfortable sometimes as you push against those old, familiar patterns.
So less quick fix, more.
More like a lifelong journey, perhaps. a journey of deliberate practice, self-awareness, and gradual change.
Okay, that makes sense. It grounds the concept a bit.
Mm.
So let's try and bring this part of our deep dive sort of full circle. We started with the simple phrase, rewire your brain. From that source, I'm Pedro Kunigan, Bio Migena. And even just exploring the idea behind the title, without the full content, it seems to hold this immense, maybe transformative potential.
You really did.
It's a concept that shifts how you might think about your own capabilities, right?
Yep.
Your own agency, suggesting that our mental setup isn't just fixed. It's something we can actively influence.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture, step back a bit, the concept itself, just the phrase, invites some pretty deep reflection, doesn't it, on personal growth, on adaptability. And it's not just wishful thinking. It aligns with what science, like the study of neuroplasticity, tells us about the human mind.
So it taps into a fundamental belief, or maybe a hope, in our capacity for conscious change, for development throughout our lives.
Precisely. Lifelong learning, lifelong adaptation, that seems to be the promise embedded in the phrase. Which I think raises a really important question for you, listening, to maybe take away from this. Given this really intriguing concept, just this idea of rewire your brain, what does that encourage you to think differently about? Maybe regarding your own capacity for learning something new, or for perhaps cultivating different emotional responses, or even mastering a skill you might have previously thought was just beyond you. What possibilities does that simple phrase open up in your own thinking?